All right, so here are some changes that are coming from the closed network test going into this closed beta test. So obviously, if you guys haven't heard, here's the dates, right? October 20th to 23rd, there's going to be a closed beta test. But here are the changes to the heat systems. Adjustments were made to make more options work effectively in aggressive tactics involving the heat system. Obviously, this is not perfect English, and it's very confusing about what this means to me. Adjustments were made to make more options work effectively in aggressive tactics. Does that mean they're buffing the heat state or not buffing the heat state? Or that they were just adjusting things? I'm not sure. Let's talk about the adjustments. The attack performance of heat burst has been adjusted. So the complaint about heat burst that I think most people had was sometimes you get hit out of the start of it. Sometimes you hit them with it and it doesn't really do anything. So I don't know what they did with it, but hopefully they did something cool. Added the effect of withstanding the upper middle attack, power crush performance to heat burst. So basically now heat burst, instead of just being able to be hit out of it, it's going to be a power crush. So the heat burst is going to absorb high and mid attacks, but probably lose to low attacks still. Maybe also lose to throws then. The behavior when using heat burst and heat dash together has been adjusted to suppress combos that are too long. What? Man, they went like a complete 180 from the original tests. Because, originally you had 2 heat dashes per combo, right? Now, in this last version, we had closed network test. You could do a heat burst into a heat dash, right? So you can do a launcher, screw attack, heat burst, right? So you get the bound state, and then you can still do a heat dash ender and finish your combo, right? So now it looks like they're somehow nerfing that to suppress combos that are too long. And I don't know how they do that without just not allowing you to heat dash after or to not allow the heat burst in the middle of a combo. It's got to be one or the other if you want to cut the combo shorter, right? So yeah, I don't know. The amount of recoverable damage caused by the effects of the heat condition has been reduced. All right, that's good news. Less chip damage, which I think was a big complaint. That was one of my big complaints for sure. The heat timer is now reduced even if the attack is blocked during the heat state. So, also heat timer consumption by enhanced attacks in the heat state has been increased. So all those moves, we have that special sound effect going off, is going to use up more of your heat timer now. So it seems like with these two changes, heat is going to be way less now, which is interesting because I think that this means that heat is going to be more or less kind of useless. I mean, it's not going to be useless, but it's been toned down so many times now, right? Like, I'm thinking back to Evo Japan when I first used it, and I was like, okay, heat's crazy. Chip, I don't really know about. Then we get to play the closed network test. I'm like, all right, there's hella crazy chip moves in the game, and it's messing up the slow-mos, etc. So chip is definitely a problem in the game, and now they've reduced the chip. But also, different moves when you're in heat, like that were specifically had heat properties, like Law's Nunchucks being a launcher, right? Every time you use it in heat, it would take off a chunk of the heat bar. But that amount was different depending on the character and what the move was. So whatever it was, it seems like these enhanced attacks has been increased for your consumption. So basically the amount of time you're in heat is going to be less no matter what. And then I remember before there was also like in juggle state, your heat timer wouldn't decrease or something, like if you were in heat and somebody else juggled you, your heat timer would go down slower, right? So it seems like they're trying to reduce those kind of instances so that the heat timer just runs down faster anyway. So not terrible changes here. I don't think people will hate this too much. It's just pretty interesting that they've already reduced the heat system so much before we've even gotten to the release yet, right? Mike says, I like Claudia can do running 2, forward, forward, forward into like 5 to 6 back 3s. Heat dash that started with a sliding knockdown had reduced pushback on juggle hits. Oh, I see. Well, we'll see if that's what it is. If it's just like the type of heat dash effect that you get, or if it's a combination of heat burst and heat dash. Because this note here to me reads as when using both of these things together, right? So when using heat burst and heat dash together, something about this has been adjusted. So We'll see what they did here. So that's all the heat system changes, which are pretty substantial. I didn't know we were going to get so many system changes going to this new system, into the new beta. In addition to reflecting adjustments from the CNT version to more advanced versions of the battle, additional adjustments were made to topics in the player feedback received in CNT that were consistent with the battle adjustment policy. Improved performance of Power Crush. So now Power Crush is going to be better somehow. We don't know what that means. Performance of the reversal technique has been suppressed. I don't know what the reversal technique means. We've also increased the number of types of techniques that cannot be prevented by reversal technique. The performance of the reversal technique has been suppressed. We've also increased the number of types of techniques that cannot be prevented. What? You think it's chickens and parries? I don't know. I don't actually know what the hell they're talking about here. Like, when I think of reversals, sure, I think about parries and counters, but I don't actually know what this is talking about. We've also increased the number of types of techniques that cannot be prevented by reversals. So basically, like, maybe if you said, okay, elbows and knees cannot be reversed before, now we're also going to apply that to kicks or high moves or something, right? But they didn't tell us what exactly it is, so that's still very strange. Yeah. So basically, counters and parries are going to get nerfed. And I think this has to do with make more options work effectively in aggressive tactics. Interesting. Easier to input dash and backdash precedence only when the second directional key is held in. I don't know what this is about either, because what does that mean? It's easier to input dash and backdash precedence when you hold in the second input. So hold forward is going to help you run to do running 3, right? And that's going to be easier now. And also backdash, hold back, is going to give it some kind of precedence over something else? I don't know. Restrictions were added to the combo after it hits the wall. What? Oh no, bro. They're nerfing the wall combos already too? I wonder what they changed on this one. Restrictions were added to the combo after it hit the wall. Does this mean you're not going to be able to do a screw attack at the wall? That was like the coolest addition to Tekken 8's system, because that system brought you back to Tekken 6, where you had to decide whether to use the screw attack first or save it for the wall. So I hope they didn't change that. I hope this is something else. Maybe it's like you just get less hits on the wall now. That's definitely still in. They showed it in the Fang trailer. I hope so. I mean, I hope that the Fang trailer is what we're going to see in this closed beta test. You know what I mean? Other behavioral and balance adjustments were made. So at this point, it seems like we just got to wait and see. Special style stuff. This is the easy mode for people who don't know how to play, basically, or who want to pick up a new character and experiment with it. Expanded and adjusted the functionality of the special style to allow players to enjoy more strategic tactics when using it. The variation of signature moves that can be performed with square or weird character has been expanded so that multiple moves can be selected and performed in combination with the directional keys. Huh? In addition to the lower attack can be performed with the other thing, another lower attack or throwing technique can be performed in combination with the directional keys. So they're giving you more options, basically. Reviewed and adjusted the techniques that are activated by all of these things. I think this is actually circle, square, triangular, or X without inputting directional keys. So they're just working on stuff. Effects. To improve battle visibility, give players a wide range of options. Reviewed and adjusted brightness of effects in general. Shape and range of some effects have been adjusted to improve visibility. Brightness is significantly reduced when the effect brightness setting is set to low in the options. This is a good change, because I remember setting mine to the lowest and it still looked kind of the same. And I was like, that's very odd that you would have a low setting, but it wouldn't even go really low. It just seemed kind of like, oh, I think it's lower because the game told me it's lower. But setting that actually looks low would be cool. So I think that's a good change. Adjustment made to items requested by many for CNT play feedback. Button settings can now be assigned to L3 and R3. A lot of people were asking for that. Costume presets now selectable. Fantastic. So we don't got to do that weird workaround we were doing. Main content mode, Tekken Fight Lounge, which is pretty cool. Battle area, customization area. Oh, so we got to experiment with all this stuff, including spectating and ghost matches too. That's neat. If you guys haven't heard about the ghost battles too, that's pretty wild too. Rank match, up to 10 ranks. Quick match, battle tutorial, options, rollback setting, cross-platform setting, effect saturation, graphic settings, resolution VSync, blah, blah, blah. Other sound settings, avatar camera setting, button mapping player setting, my profile players who play together, friend list, follow, register rival. Ooh, interesting. I hate this guy. I want to find him. Is that what that's for? And then this is the big deal, right? Playable characters that they added. Raven, Azucena, and Fang are going to be added to the closed beta test in addition to all these other characters we had before. So the same 16 from the closed network test. And then we get Raven, Azucena, and Fang. But we don't get Steve Fox, Dragonov, Leo, Shaheen. Like all those ones are just being saved for the release. Which makes sense because you know this thing's going to get C-worded. So it's going to end up, you know, being playable. Pretty wild. Yeah, no Yoshi either. Exactly. Battle Stage is 6. Rebel Hangar, Sanctum, Arena. So these same ones. And now they're adding Ortiz Farm, which is Azucena stage. Did it say blocking? Block list. Yeah, you're right. You can block people. Sick. Then let's see what else is there. The dates, of course, October 20th to 23rd. So that's basically it, I think. Everything else here, I don't want to go ahead and compare this. It ran decently on the PC before. I definitely still think the PS5 version is the version to get, but when this test comes around, we'll test both and see how they compare currently. Because I think definitely before, my major complaint with it before was honestly just the audio desyncs that were happening. And it seemed to be happening a lot more on the PC side than the PlayStation side. Actually, it was happening on both. So hopefully they fix that in general. I think that's basically it, though. I think that's basically it. So that's all the system changes, battle system changes. So we'll see what the heat system is like. We'll see what the power crush is like and all these reversal changes, whatever this dashing change is going to be. I assume it's just to be easier running threes, but I'm not sure about why the backdash thing is going to be different. It'd be really interesting if backdash canceling is changed because of this too, though. Imagine you could just do back, and it lets you backdash cancel, bro. Like, I wouldn't be surprised with the direction that this game has gone so far if that's what they do. Because precedence is an interesting word to use here too, right? And it says only when the second directional key is held in. So imagine if backdash precedence means back holdback into back holdback will give you another backdash. I don't know. Precedence is basically like priority, right? So it says easier to input dash and backdash precedence. So I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm very, very curious to see what this is and whether or not it's actually something substantial or not. And of course, whatever they changed about the wall system and whatever else they changed. There's a lot of changes here. I did not expect the game to change this drastically leading into release. This is kind of surprising to me, to be honest, because I kind of expected us to have that first closed network test, then they refine it a little bit, right? And then we get the final version. So the fact that we even have a closed beta test and it's very different is kind of shocking because this version that we're going to play is a version that hasn't existed before for all the characters. And then that version is only going to be around for 3 months before the release. So they're going to have this one beta test, and hopefully we get another one then, right? Because what if there are issues with it or people don't like it? Like, are you just going to revert halfway back? It's an interesting release schedule, I guess, is the only way to describe it. But yeah, that's all the changes they've talked about so far. We've got a couple of videos to watch, but that's that for now. Make sure you guys subscribe, turn on notifications, ring the bell, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you here. Twitch.tv, level up your game. Boom. Easy, so easy. Another one. In the books.